It all started when I moved into this house. This thing. Everyone calls the house that never sleeps. It wasn't my first choice, but the price was too good to ignore. The owner didn't say much, just handed me the keys and left without a word. That should have been my first warning. The place looked ancient, cracked walls, creaking floorboards, and windows that seemed to watch you back. The air inside was cold, colder than it should have been for a summer night. But it wasn't just the chill. There was something else, something alive about the house. The neighbors? Oh, they avoided it completely. They'd cross the street rather than walk past it. One old man stopped me one evening and said, "You know, the house doesn't sleep. Be careful." I laughed it off, at first. Still, I thought, how bad could it be? But I should have listened to them, because what happened next, I can't unsee. Are you brave enough to continue? Subscribe now for more chilling tales before the house pulls you in. It didn't take long for things to feel off. That first night I was unpacking in the living room. The house was quiet, too quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat. Then, there it was, a sound. It started soft, like footsteps. I froze. Maybe it's just the old house settling, I told myself. But the sound grew louder, deliberate, like someone pacing. I checked the hallway. Nothing, no one. But as I turned to leave, I felt it, a chill on the back of my neck. It wasn't the kind of cold you feel outside. It felt alive. I wasn't alone in that house. It's only the beginning. Subscribe now before it's too late. I couldn't sleep. Every creak, every whisper felt like it was pulling me deeper into the house. I told myself, it's just an old building. But curiosity got the better of me. I needed to know what was hiding in the shadows. The sound was coming from below, the basement. I didn't even realize this house had a basement until now. The door was hidden behind an old bookshelf. It looked untouched for years, yet the whispers were coming from inside. Every instinct told me to turn back, but I couldn't. Something was pulling me down, like the house wanted me to go there. The air was thick, suffocating, and then I saw it, a small table in the center of the room, covered in dust. On it lay an old leather-bound diary. Its cover had strange symbols carved into it, symbols that seemed to shift when I looked away. The protagonist reaches for the diary. The whispers suddenly stop. The silence is deafening. As soon as I opened it, the room felt like it was closing in on me. The pages were filled with frantic handwriting, stories of people who had lived in this house before me. Each entry ended the same way. The house never lets you leave. Suddenly, a loud thud echoes behind the protagonist. They spin around, flashlight trembling, revealing a shadowy figure standing at the base of the stairs. The figure slowly starts moving toward them. The deeper you go, the darker it gets. Subscribe now to uncover what happens next. It was there, right in front of me. A shape, but not entirely human. Its eyes, or what should have been eyes, glowed faintly, like embers in the dark. My legs felt frozen, my breath caught in my throat. The camera switches to a close-up of the figure's distorted, ghostly face, half hidden in the darkness. A chilling growl fills the room. It wasn't just looking at me, it was inside my head, filling my mind with thoughts that weren't mine. I heard voices, hundreds of them, all whispering the same thing. You can't leave. The protagonist suddenly snaps out of their frozen state and stumbles backward, tripping over an old piece of furniture. The diary falls from their hand and lands open on the ground. The pages turn on their own, stopping at a page marked with a bloody handprint. I don't know what it wanted, but it wasn't going to let me go. The walls started to shake. The room felt alive, like it was breathing, like it was hungry. The camera pans around the basement as cracks spread along the walls, black ooze dripping out of them. The figure lunges at the protagonist, but they grab the flashlight and swing it wildly, the beam flaring with an unnatural intensity that makes the figure recoil. I don't know how, but the light, it hurt it. I didn't wait to find out more. I ran. The protagonist scrambles up the stairs as the shadowy figure screams, the sound inhuman and deafening. The basement door slams shut behind them, leaving them gasping for air in the hallway. The nightmare isn't over yet. Subscribe now if you dare to see what comes next. I thought it was over. I thought I had escaped. But the silence, it wasn't relief. It was a warning. That's when I realized the house wasn't letting me go. It wasn't just in the basement. It was everywhere. I turned, hoping for an escape. But the door, it didn't lead outside anymore. It was the basement. The house had changed. The protagonist's eyes widen in horror as they see the shadowy figure standing at the front door, beckoning them back. The room begins to shift, the walls twisting and warping as if the house itself is alive. It wasn't a house. It was a trap. A living, breathing thing feeding on anyone foolish enough to enter. The house never sleeps. And now, neither will you. Subscribe if you dare to return to the darkness.